It is Sunday morning, and you know what that means. It is time for the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. Browns Commanders previews. Can the Browns get that second win? Can they stave off disaster? We're going to find out. We're going to lead up the hows, the whys, the hope that they can do it. Also, full fantasy football NFL Week 5. There are bye weeks. There's a London game going on right now. Get your fantasy football questions in using hashtag AskAndy, and we'll have a little parlay party as well on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's get the show started.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, the sickest Cleveland Browns podcast.
Chubb runs, he's to the 10, 15, he's to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There goes Chubb, he's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Shabba-lubba hub.
It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Sunday. NFL Week 5 is here, and the Browns have a 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff in Washington against the Commanders. Remember, this was supposed to be the easy game, right? It's supposed to be an easy game. We'll get into why it's not going to be so easy, but there still is a path to victory. Fantasy football, get your start sits in, get your questions in. You can jump in the comment section here. We're live chatting on YouTube, the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, on X, on Twitter, at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, and Instagram, at AndyMC Sports. So get your fantasy football questions in. We'll also build a little parlay ticket. Get a little parlay party going, see if we can win big on the DraftKings Sportsbook coming up in a little bit. But we're looking good here on the show, right? I got my Brian Sipe jersey, and I got a guy who's also looking quite stylish, who's going to join me right now for some Browns preview, for some fantasy football talk from IDP Guys. It is Grant Gillilan from God's country, Ohio.
What's up, Andy?
Hey, brother. Look
Hey,
at you.
Just taking a little inspiration from you. I think I saw you on the internet. And then also Kirko changed after that game on Thursday.
That's right. You're looking good. You got my Railbirds at my Railbirds, the horse racing betting champ chain. But you and our buddy Max from the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, you got the champion for cornhole.
Yeah, actually he's running her up, but hey, we'll still take it.
What's hey, I don't see the winners on this show. Do you?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
You're the winner. You're the winner. And looking stylish, getting ready for Sunday. And you can always look stylish in homage. Make sure, folks, you get homage, your gear. You've seen my shirts on the show with them, that sweet autogram shirt, the original Browns helmet. There's so many cool, unique things you can get from our buddies at Homage. Specializes in ultra comfy, high quality looks, repping sports, pop culture, and legendary moments. Learn more about Homage with the link in the description. So such comfortable clothes. I could wear them every day. Absolutely love it. Unique stuff. So check out Homage. All right, Grant. Everybody click subscribe, notifications, follow along on social. Get those questions in as well for fantasy football. Use hashtag AskAndy. We'll get those in a little bit later on. Grant, before we get to the stomach curdling statistics for the Washington Commanders, how do you feel about this game going in? Just raw emotion. How do you feel when this thing is going to kick off on Sunday?
It is not a good feeling.
Yeah.
I'm almost not looking forward to watching this offense try to move the ball down the field. I'm hoping that something switches here so we can see a little bit of point scoring, but I really don't see it. I think Deshaun's in for a long day again.
Boy, look, the thing is, what they say is that hope is not a strategy, but that's all we got.
Yeah.
We're like, Grant, we can buy a lottery ticket and hope we win. There's no strategy to it. We hope we can win that. But and that's kind of what it feels like, right? Like, there's nothing we can point to. We lost Alex Wright for the year with a torn tricep. So they're down on defense.
Yeah, and I was talking to some other Browns fans yesterday, and they're upset with Stefanski as well. The one guy said he's been calling for him to give up his play calling for at least the last 2 years, if not the last 3. And he's like, we have a guy like Deontay Foreman. Why is he only getting 1 touch a game? It makes no sense, especially on like the last play, that 4th and 3.
Mm-hmm. That's why you got him.
The ball. We could have ran routes to the sticks, but instead we're going to send everybody to the end zone.
No, and Stefanski like, I got to do better. Well, do better then, pal. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're calling the game, that's your job, bro. And so it just seems the frustrating part is you can't pinpoint it on just one thing. If there was just one thing, then we could be like, okay, fix that. It seems like if the play calling is good, the quarterback holds on to the ball too long. If the quarterback's playing good, the offensive line lets it through, or there's a penalty, or the defense lets something up. Like, it's just stacks. And Grant, the scary thing is, as Browns fans, we've seen these types of seasons before many a time. And I'm starting to get that vibe that, like, maybe I should be watching more college football for the draft this year.
Yeah, and I'm not getting the 0-16 season feelings, but I'm getting
not yet.
The depression of we're not making the playoffs again, the kind of season.
Well, funny you bring that up. Let's check some statistics here. Let's see. So since 1966, 403 teams have started a season 1-3. Only 25 of them have made the playoffs. That is 6.2%. Starting 1-4 would reduce those odds even further. This coming from our buddy Tony Grossi from ESPN Cleveland. 4.5% if you start 1-4 out of 263. Okay, so those numbers, the Browns are analytical, right? They're the analytics office. They should be sweating, losing sleep over these numbers. Like, we're already up against it.
Yeah.
And the team to do it, how about this? The funny thing is, the last team to start 1-3 and make the playoffs was a Deshaun Watson-led Houston Texans team who went on a 9-game winning streak to finish 11-5.
And really looking at the AFC North standings here, we got the Steelers 3-1, Ravens 2-2, us 1-3, and the Bengals 1-3. So we're technically not out of this yet.
No.
Because I still don't know if the Steelers are the real deal. The Ravens, I think, are the real deal. They just haven't figured it out yet. And the Bengals are probably going to pick up another loss to the Ravens today. So,
well, and that's the frustrating part, because the Browns could have made up ground, right? Joe Flacco did you another favor, Browns fans, last week. He did us another favor by beating the Steelers coming in relief, and we couldn't take advantage. And there's only so many things that now, Grant, when we looked at the schedule earlier in the year, before the schedule comes out, we look at this first chunk. Remember, we were like, oh boy, that last half of the season is going to be tough. Better stack those wins against the easy teams. Well, we've lost to the, quote, easy teams. And now one of the easy teams, the Washington Commanders, have what's looking like the surefire rookie of the year and possibly an MVP candidate in Jayden Daniels. This isn't going to be an easy game.
Luckily, we see a quarterback of his athletic stature twice a year. So
yeah, we can train for it.
We know how to handle this kind of athletic quarterback, but I'm not worried about our defense. I'm worried about the offense.
Well, here's what's concerning is that, okay, so the good news is the Commanders' defense is not good. They traded away all those first-round picks. They'll be building on that in the future. So the defense is not good. The offense is putting up 30 to 40 points a game. The bad news is our offense can't put up 20 points.
No.
We can't get 20 points. So even if the defense is bad that we're playing, that's what's frustrating. You have that, and you have Jayden Daniels, who's putting up, I believe, Grant, I had to relook at these numbers, 82.1% completion. That's obscene.
And I mean, we can't really be looking too hard at their the Commanders' offensive totals, because they played the Bengals, which they pretty much had a varsity high school level defense. Yeah, they played the Giants. I mean, we couldn't do anything against the Giants, but they still put 21 points up against the Giants. And they only put 20 points up against the Buccaneers. So, and then the Cardinals. Are we sold on the Cardinals being a great team? I'm not, especially defensively. So they really haven't played anybody defensively that gets after you like the Browns will. Okay.
You know what? You're actually giving me some, I'm feeling a little positive there, Grant. Must be the champ chain. Must be. I love that. Our buddies at Trophy Smack, by the way. Trophy Smack always do a great job there with all their gear and everything.
In case anybody's saying that's a fake chain, I'm telling you, it's not a fake chain. I might have to go see the chiropractor after this.
No, I'm telling you, like, if you guys go to @myrailbirds, you'll see the videos where I'm wearing it. Like, it's a legit, like, that thing is legit 5+ pounds of metal. And I don't know about you, but when you go to put it on, like, you got to be careful because that thing's heavy. Oh, sharp. It'll clip your nose.
Yeah. I'm sure yours is Trophy Smack, right?
Yeah. It's the same one. It's the same style as yours. Mine's the same Trophy Smack. Yeah, we ordered it from our buddy Matt, and I believe he's out in San Diego. So
yeah, he's out there in California enjoying the sunshine.
Oh, feeling good. But how about this for Jayden Daniels? Let's just talk about him for a second. So 82% completion, 107.4 passer rating. He's leads the second highest scoring team in the NFL. He's his top. He's got 214 rushing yards and four rushing touchdowns to Lamar Jackson's 2. So you're right. The Browns have been prepared and are built to a degree to defend this type of quarterback. But like, what's interesting, Grant, is that we look at how great CJ Stroud did last year. And I still think CJ Stroud has probably a bit of the better overall arm talent. Jayden Daniels certainly has impressed with that. But you add in that mobility. Like, we're seeing another stellar, early on still, but stellar rookie QB come in and absolutely light up the league.
Yeah. And I think the only way to slow him down is to have either JOK or Grant Delpit spy on him.
Yeah.
If he's going to try to take off running, one of those two have to put a helmet on him.
Yeah, and that's why essentially why we drafted JOK to begin with, right?
Correct.
To go side to side, get that speed. JOK has had, despite the struggles of the defense, and Jim Schwartz went over it in his press conference. He's like, look, we've had bad stretches and bad series, which are unacceptable, but they've also had great moments. Like, they have 2 defensive touchdowns this year.
Yes.
Like, imagine taking those away from the offense in the Browns store. We said they can't score 20 points in a game. Well, 14 of those spread over were from the defense. So they have their moments. What's frustrating to me is when, and we especially saw with the Giants game, and the lack of adjustment in game was quite frankly shocking. Just that bubble screen. They let the defense come, and they just kept doing it, where Daniel Jones just waited, okay, open guy over the middle, open guy over the middle, over and over and over. And I'm sure the Commanders are going to try to do that again.
Yeah, I don't see why not. With Brian Robinson, he's probably a better running back than whoever the Giants are putting out in the field that day.
Shoot, because they had Singletary. Yeah, I like Brian Robinson too.
Gray or Tracy? Yeah,
Tracy was there too. Yep, Tracy Singletary. So they got Robinson. I think, is Austin Eckler playing today? He was he had a concussion thing. Let me
I have not.
I'm gonna give her a little look. Oh, looks like he's playing. Cleared concussion protocol, will play against the Browns. Yep. So he will play. He's had a nice fantasy season, had a good overall, kind of mixing and matching in that kind of hybrid role as he goes on. I got to meet him actually in 2021 in Vegas. We were down there for a big fantasy football, the old job I used to work at. And we got to meet Austin Eckler in person. Super nice guy.
That's what I've heard. Nice, listen to the fantasy radio on XM radio.
Yeah.
They
nice.
They all talk about how great of a guy he is and how big he is into fantasy football, which is awesome.
Huge with it. We got to actually, talk fantasy football with him. It's funny how sometimes the running backs, how they're built, because he's, I'm 5'10" and he was a couple inches shorter than me, but he's wide, right? Like, he's like thick, but it's kind of funny just how like big overall they are, but then they're like small, and that, that body type can lend its way to be slippery. And those quick out passes, that's why he's had some success and able to help out a Jayden Daniels. So we look at that team there. Again, the defense shouldn't scare you, but our offense can't scare anybody. Like, Grant, what are we looking at today? I got on one of my bets, one of my DraftKings sports pick bets, I got my my eye on another Amari Cooper anytime touchdown, because I think he reiterated to the media again this week, just like he did 2 weeks ago. He was like, I'm dialed in, I'm ready, when he had his 2 touchdown weeks, and he recognizes that really now, if this guy wants a contract anywhere else after this year, you better pick your ass up and get going. So I think a touchdown today.
Amari Cooper just scares me. And it's not because of Amari. I mean, some of it's Amari. He can't catch a ball this year. He's looking like OBJ when OBJ was in Cleveland. But I like Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy is becoming our number 1 receiver very quietly, though. Yeah.
And if you know what, if you look from a fantasy side, and really the tricky part is until the Browns start scoring more points and the offense becomes a bit more cohesive, it's tough to almost trust anybody in Browns fantasy. But if you look at Jerry Jeudy from a PPR perspective, this guy, out of 4 games played, 3 of them, he's been in double digits, 11.5 points or more. Like, for a secondary guy as a flex with potential to pop if the offense gets going, Jerry Jeudy is looking pretty good.
Absolutely. He's my go-to in Scott Fishbowl. If I had to put, I have both Amari and Jeudy in Scott Fishbowl, and I'm taking Jerry Jeudy over Amari Cooper until otherwise proven.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that, and look, we saw last week an 82-yard touchdown called back, ticky-tack penalty call by the refs, whatever. But then he had one bounce off his chest and was intercepted. So it's, again, it goes to that you're not playing complementary football even within your same unit where Deshaun's progressing and we're seeing those baby steps, but then someone costs him that. And then he'll have a play where he holds onto the damn ball. And if you look at the replay, we can see 2 receivers open. But then we see Stefanski calling plays and then no one's schemed open. Like, that's what's so baffling. And on this week's show on Tuesday, earlier in the week, you can go back, check in the archives. We chatted with Sal Capaccio from WGR 550 in Buffalo to get an idea. And thanks to you, Grant, for giving me the idea of like, let's see what this Dorsey offense, like, what is it supposed to be? Like, when it's working, because people are like, oh, it seems slamming stuff down in Buffalo. It worked for a while. So, like, what's it supposed to do? And he went over, he's like, look, what was the most revealing to me, and I haven't heard this talked about anywhere else, that's why you click notifications on for the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, is the tight end usage. He's like, Dorsey wanted to use 2 tight end sets. And what I'm thinking, Grant, is like, hold on here. Stefanski loves tight ends. So why did we not stockpile that position at all in the offseason? And why has that not been talked about? Like, that seems like that would be an actual nice blend with Stefanski rather than I don't know what we're seeing now.
Yeah, first off, I think this offense is a offense that's disguised as a Ken Dorsey offense, but it's really a Kevin Stefanski offense.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like the old Scooby-Doo meme, right? Where it's like, well, whose offense is this? You pull off the mask and it's Kevin Stefanski.
Exactly. But as far as a 2 tight end, yeah, we should have went out and got another tight end because our luck, injuries happen.
Yeah.
Happened to Njoku. We haven't had Njoku for 3 weeks now.
Week 1.
Yeah.
That was it. Like that's again what's so frustrating. So you have Jordan Akins, who at this point he's a catch and fall down guy. You had Blake Whiteheart catch a touchdown in the red zone. Who had that for an anytime touchdown? That would have paid off nice. But you got fill-in guys. You don't have difference makers. So that was weird. And that's why we were talking about on the show, and me and you and all that was like, why not just say, okay, Dorsey, let's have at it. Stefanski can always take it back. They're not firing Kevin Stefanski, okay? It's a 2-time coach of the year. He's not getting fired. Say, hey, man, all right, you call it. Because Stefanski has no grasp on what to do here. He's half in, half out, and it just seems totally like he's stuck in limbo, and it's not working. So why not let Dorsey go, call plays, see what happens. That's why he's here. So go do it.
Yeah.
And let's see. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but at least we'll know.
Scripted wise, Stefanski's great.
Sure.
Scored on our first drive and then looked lackluster after that. His game management and time management, awful. He needs to give it to Dorsey, and then you can solely focus on game time adjustments, time management.
Yeah,
that's probably all you should focus on as a head coach, and keeping the discipline. There's no discipline on this team again.
No, you're right. Oh, the penalties, the
Awful.
self-inflicted wounds, man. And I know people are like, all the injuries on the offensive line. I can appreciate that. But the thing is, even if you have new people in, even if you have injuries, you can still be disciplined and not cause penalties. We saw that all the time with Bill Callahan last year. And Grant, I am absolutely floored how much of a difference losing an assistant coach has had on this team. DeJuan Jones, reports are he's 20 pounds overweight. He's sluggish. He's slow. He's not athletic. He was 20 pounds less and getting yelled at every day by Bill Callahan, and it worked. They're soft on this guy. DeJuan Jones, we saw how good he can be, but now he's a big oaf.
Yeah.
Like, go sit in the sauna, brother, and go get 5 pounds each week. 4 weeks, you're back in shape. Come on. But no one's pushing him.
I truly don't know who's worse, him or Jedrick. And because it just seems like they're so slow getting off the ball. If they got a rusher on each side of them, they just stand there. They freeze up. Yeah. It's awful. It's really bad. I keep using awful. It's really bad. Well, awful's like a great word for this season so far.
It sure is at 1-3. And I'll give DeJuan Jones credit. At least the guy's trying to play through. Yeah. I don't think that knee's a hunt. At least he's playing through. Jed came back one game. Someone fell on him. He's out again. I don't have Conklin. James Hudson, by the way, Grant, like, this guy's the drizzling poops. He's terrible. I don't care what tackles you put him on. Like, you tell him, like, he's just not good. He's not a good offensive lineman.
No.
And we have to keep relying on him. It's so frustrating. He's not good.
And we need to get younger at this position, at the offensive line. We're only getting older. And as of right now, our two younger guys, Jed and Jones, are not reliable right now. So we got to address this next offseason, either in the draft or free agency.
Well, you got Zach Zintner in there now as well, having to fill in for Wyatt Teller. And here's the thing. We're seeing this year, I think, in full force, the effect of not having the surge of impactful youth, missing those 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. We're seeing it firsthand, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just – and so when we see Deshaun Watson making, it's like, we got a little better. Okay, we'll get a lot better, man, now. Like, get a lot better right now. And I know it's not all his fault, but damn it, man. Like, come on.
And I'm not worried about so much this season or the next season. It's the seasons after that when we have to start paying actual contracts. We just keep kicking the can down the road.
I know. Well, the contract, and then all the money you push forward for Deshaun Watson as well. So we're still going to feel the effects of this guy, whether he's here after 2 seasons after this or not.
Yeah, I was talking to Ricky, one of the co-owners at IDP Plus, and his son's a huge Houston Texans fan.
Oh,
and he was saying this is not the Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry, this is not Deshaun Watson's fault. Houston Texans fans think it's on Stefanski. You cannot put this guy in the pocket and force him to throw from the pocket. He's an athletic quarterback. Get him rolling out like we did for Baker in 2020 when we made that playoff run. Yeah. And by the way, Kevin Stefanski doesn't have a playoff win still.
He's at home with COVID. That's right.
Yes. So
he has more Coach of the Year awards than playoff wins.
Yes.
Wild.
But anyways, just get him out there, roll him out. Let's let him create, because we started seeing it in the fourth quarter of the couple of these games where he can start making plays. Let him do that the entire game.
Let him do it the entire game. It goes back to that offense being totally discombobulated, of Stefanski trying one thing into another, not doing something. And that's why it's either fully endorse what Dorsey's doing, let him do it, or get out of the way. Or just be like, hey, Deshaun, you know what? We're flipping. You're going to do exactly what I want. And then that's probably not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, look at Dorsey. He had Cam Newton, athletic quarterback. Josh Allen, athletic quarterback. Deshaun Watson, athletic quarterback. Now let's go look at what Kevin Stefanski had. Kirk Cousins, pocket passer. Flacco, pocket passer. Baker. Then he tried to force him into a pocket passer, and it didn't work. So his offense is not made for Deshaun Watson. It's just not a good fit.
No, it's not. It's going to be interesting today. And if they drop to 1-4, man, good Lord, I'm going to be down there. We're going to meet up week 7. I hope go on a nice little run before that. That's going to be.
I will say this, and I don't like Freddie Kitchens. Freddie Kitchens knew how to play with Baker. Get him out on the play action, roll him out, get the ball out of his hands.
The thing was with Freddie, the perfect storm really should have been Greg Williams taking over as head coach, because he could rein in Freddie's craziness. You need him to rein it in. Freddie as a head coach was an abject disaster, and I think derailed this franchise because they kicked Dorsey out, who did a hell of a job outside of that, and the OBJ trade. Oops. But, everything with that was that Freddie Kitchens, that was way too overwhelming for him. You keep Freddie as offensive coordinator with Greg Williams, the tough guy, keeping things in check. We could still have that going today.
Yeah.
But that's not our reality, unfortunately. And all my Baker stuff in the background and off screen and whatever is, I keep it. I feel like remembering some good times. We'll see what today brings. Grant, let's get our prediction. Then we'll move on to some fantasy football stuff for today. What's your score prediction for today's game?
Do you want me to be a Browns fan, or do you want me?
I want you to be, you know what? Let's do your Browns fan prediction, and then your if you're betting actual dollars on the DraftKings Sportsbook prediction.
As a Browns fan, I think 24-21.
There we go. I dig it.
if I'm putting money on it,
Uh-oh.
I'm going Washington.
Yeah, straight up money line.
Yeah.
I'm
What's the spread on this game?
You know, that's a good. Let's see. I think it was 3.5. Let's see. Washington 3-point favorites, which is at home and usually get a 3 point. So Vegas is pretty much calling it a wash.
Yeah, I'm still taking Washington.
Me too. Like until we see different. Nobody wants to be proved wrong more than you and I. I would love to be proved wrong, and the offense explodes. We're like, great. Want to be wrong. But that's just not where we're at. But you can never go wrong, Grant. You can never go wrong with our friends at Stadium Mustard, baby. I know you love it.
Love
Down in Ohio. Mustard. Oh, so good. Our buddies at Stadium Mustard, from ballparks to backyards, everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth but spicy mustard, rich in taste and tradition. Stadium Mustard is real and organic, not manufactured. Available at Brown Stadium, Guardians Minor League, and Northwoods League. And really, like, you can put it on your burger. I barbecued burgers last night. Pop the Stadium Mustard. Just adds that bit of difference. Deli sandwiches, hot dogs, whatever. Make sure you're giving our guys some great merch, too. We're going to be giving away, Grant, and I hope I said next time the Browns win, every Browns win, we're going to give away a Stadium Mustard shirt. If this trend continues, I might have to think of a different angle to give some shirts away. But in any case, Stadium Mustard, check it out, guys.
Man, awesome. An all beef hot dog, ketchup, relish, and Stadium Mustard.
Let's go.
That's how you do it.
That's what it's about, baby. That's what it's about. Okay, let's get into some fantasy football here, some start sets, what we're looking at. Now, we have to remember there's the game going on right now, so hopefully you're up early and set your lineup. Vikings lead in the second quarter, 10-0 over the Jets. Boy, man. Oh, Aaron Rodgers has 2 interceptions.
Oh, that helps. I don't know why whoever's in my home league dropped Minnesota's defense. I snatched them up so fast.
Nice. Those London games are weird. I didn't want to bet on that one. Those London games are so odd, right?
They're awful. Yeah,
but
awful again.
10-0 and 2 INTs for Aaron Rodgers. Wonder what happens with that Devontae Adams. So let's see. If we're looking at the teams on bye, so this is the problems we have to face this week. We have the Lions, the Titans, the Eagles, and the Chargers out. Defensively, the Broncos were my top DST picked up, my top team defense picked up this week. I think it's a good match, and they've very quietly been defensively strong. So I'm going with the Broncos pickup this week as one of my top ads. Who do you got?
Defense, Andy. For me to talk team defense is like
that's your bet. Oh, you want to do Indy? You want to do individuals? IDP guys, individual, but you know what? And you can mix in a couple individual guys too, because IDP Plus is we'll talk a bit more about it later. But IDP Plus is phenomenal. But yeah, like it's an interesting week how we look at these teams, and entering week 5, there's been so many up and downs. But Broncos playing the Raiders, Browns play them last week. Raiders aren't scaring me. Browns let that one get away.
No. As far as tight ends, if you didn't have Kyle Pitts this week, I'm sorry.
He finally did something.
Right. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I like Cole Kmet a lot. I think Caleb Williams is starting to find his tight end.
Right. And against the Panthers.
Last year, when Justin Fields started finding Kmet, he started scoring some really good fantasy points. So, and he's reliable too. Right.
I think too, there's some opportunities with the Rams. We know Cooper Kupp's out. We know Puka Nakua's out. Now, the Packers defense has been good. Packers 3-point favorites on the road. But I went, and in one of my leagues, I'm starting Tutu Atwell. And then another one, Jordan Winnington, because really someone's got to get the ball. And we remember Tutu Atwell, the first 5 weeks last year, along with Puka, were lighting it up in fantasy, Grant. And we're seeing those targets start to come back. So I think one of those two, if you're in need, if you're in bye week trouble, you need some help. One of those two guys could make a nice little flex.
Yeah.
Pop them in.
The other game I'm interested in is the Indianapolis game. If Joe Flacco's playing, I am starting Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, 100%. And when we saw when he came in, all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's good. Just like Flacco did with the Browns.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, these receivers can actually catch. Cool. Right? Josh Downs maybe too.
Yeah.
But Pittman's the top guy. Another play I like, and he's only starting in 14% of Yahoo leagues. What's his roster? Only 31% rostered. Xavier Legette. And I've been talking about him for 2 weeks now, Grant, because without Adam Thielen, and with Andy Dalton coming in to stabilize that position, you have Deontay Johnson as the one, and then you have Xavier Legette. So you actually have 2 fantasy relevant receivers there. And we look at in the one game last week that Andy Dalton was starting, Legette had 19.6 fantasy points, 10 targets. That's what we want to look at. 10 targets, 6 catches, a touchdown, ran the ball twice as well. So he is the clear number 2 behind Johnson and has some standalone value. I got him in a flex spot. I'm against Chicago. I know that Chicago defense is good, but Andy Dalton's a vet. He can distribute.
Yeah, it's crazy how these veteran quarterbacks are coming in and making these receivers pop. And maybe this is something that we need to start sitting rookie quarterbacks behind these veterans, give them a season to learn,
throw it back,
then turn them loose.
Yep.
Look at Green Bay. They had Favre. They had Aaron Rodgers behind Favre. Now they had Jordan Love behind Aaron Rodgers. And it just seems like they don't miss a beat when they have to replace quarterbacks.
Which is so wild, which is the polar opposite of what we look at, right? Yeah, Jordan Love. Now, that was one hell of an ugly return game, but he got over 31 fantasy points. He had 389 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, ran ones. Like, that was just a wild game. I expect him to be a bit more settled this week against the Rams, who without Aaron Donald, that defense just looks pretty boring. I think we're conditioned. And in fantasy, we have to remember, sometimes you get into like just a memory, lull of like, oh yeah, Rams defense is good. Well, they were good, and now they're not so great. So, we're looking at that. Cowboys Steelers is the Sunday nighter. This is screaming to me. There's 43.5. I took as the under, if we're talking betting, I took the under at 43.5. For fantasy, I think you got to, you start who you're going to start. But I just see this one kind of being a slog and not very exciting fantasy wise. What about you?
So with this game, I ended up picking up Justin Fields.
And I did too. And for fantasy, I did too. Yeah.
And I'm going to start Najee Harris just because the Dallas run defense is not good.
Yeah. Parsons is out as well. We saw how good he was against us.
Yep.
Right. So that's a problem. If we're looking at, let me see some other starts. Brian Thomas Jr. I like as a start in Jacksonville against Indianapolis. The Jacksonville Jags have been terrible. We saw that. But Brian Thomas Jr. as a rookie has done, outside of week 3 against Buffalo, has been very good. And the targets are there. Last 2 weeks, 9 targets, had a touchdown, had over 21 fantasy points last week. Brian Thomas Jr. I really like. Jayden Reed. We got a lot of questions in on the Packers, who to start. Jayden Reed seems to be Jordan Love's top guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is Watson still out?
Watson's still out. Dontavian Wicks, I have in one of my leagues that I don't have Reed. I have him in there as a flex because he's kind of the number 2. And you can pop him in. And here's another thing. Let's go back to that Colts game real quick. Thing to remember, Jonathan Taylor is out. So if you were savvy, you listened to the show on Tuesday, you got yourself Trey Sermon and have him into the lineup. Ohio State product. We like that. Limited opportunity. So still, this hopefully is a breakout party for him today. And we have to remember, too, with Joe Flacco under center, what did we see last year with the Browns? The run game is key. It operates off of the play action. It's not like an Anthony Richardson or a mobile guy where it's kind of freestyling. This is structured. So the run game with Trey Sermon should have an opportunity to do some damage there when we look at what he can do possibly against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I like that play with Trey Sermon there. Ramondre Stevenson. So I benched Ramondre Stevenson in favor of Trey Sermon, actually. Like Stevenson, after that week 1, that he's intriguing to me because Miami just seems to be in total free fall with their quarterback situation, and Jalen Phillips on their defense is out for the year. So he might do okay, but that Patriots offense, overall, you can't trust them, right?
There was another running back that I was looking at this morning.
Oh, who are you thinking?
But the name is slipping my mind.
Do you remember the team?
They play Buffalo.
They play Buffalo. Let's see. Who are the Bills playing? Bills are playing. Akers, Cam Akers, Texans.
Akers, yes.
Yeah, Joe Mixon is out again. How are Houston 1-point favorites over the Bills? What am I?
Vegas must have watched that game last week. It was like,
Yeah,
but I don't think Houston's even remotely close to Baltimore.
No. And Houston's taking a bit of a step back. Both teams are 3-1. I'm going to take the Bills straight up. Now, they could say, a Stephon Diggs revenge game. Maybe it's a good anytime touchdown bet opportunity. But Nico Collins is the man there.
Yeah.
That's your fantasy play. And that was one of the concerns coming in, right, Grant? For fantasy, it's like, okay, well, who is going to be the star? Is it Stephon Diggs? Is it Nico Collins? Is it Tank Dell? And really, I'm a little surprised. It has been Nico Collins. He stepped up.
Yep.
Right? So we got, James Cook for the Bills you're playing. I still don't like relying on any of the receivers, so maybe a Dalton Kincaid play. Or really, if you got a tight end that's starting, Grant, at this point, it's like if you're getting 8 fantasy points, that's what it is. Outside of the odd blip that we've seen in a Dallas Goedert and a Kyle Pitts. For the most part, it's been terrible. Like, do you have a strategy with that this year? Like, it just seems like, okay, well, let's stick with a guy. Like, I picked up Cade Otton, and you got me 8 fantasy points. I'm like, all right, I guess that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's mine right now because Evan Ingram hasn't played. Is let me just click right here because there's no rhyme or reason to.
No, I've given Njoku in 3 leagues, and I'm just like, so I've been playing catch up. I've been scrambling.
Yeah, I have Evan Ingram in a couple leagues, and he's injured, hamstring, of course.
Yeah, that's really all there is, right? We got. Let's go to the chat here on YouTube. You can subscribe. Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on Sick Pod Browns on Twitter, on X at AndyMCD1. Use hashtag AskAndy. We got Joseph Rossitano. Joseph, how's it going, buddy? Hi, Andy. Need some help in some players from my lineup in full PPR for running back. I'm between Javonte Williams, Gibson, Hunt for running backs, Wicks or Cooper for flex. We were talking about Wicks. Let's start with the running back here one. So this is interesting. I picked up Javonte Williams in 1 league. I'm out of that group. Gibson is behind Stevenson, and that run game hasn't been going well. So Hunt, you work into, we know Hunt as Browns fans, but you still have Carson Steele, who they benched after fumbling. Is he out for good? I don't know. And same P. Ryan vultured at the goal line. I think Javonte Williams is at least the clear starter in Denver. So I'm going to say Javonte Williams. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm taking a chance on Kareem Hunt, even though I like him out of the 3.
You got 2 other guys there.
I like him out of the 3. It's just running back by committee. Even though I think Kareem Hunt should be the one getting the goal line carries in Kansas City, but I'm not Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson, you can go ahead and throw him out. I think I'm going with Javonte Williams as well.
Yeah. I think real life wise, the Hunt edition is better than the fantasy wise. So we're both going with Williams, and then Wicks or Cooper. So we just talked about that. Wicks was able to eat with Reed still being the top target. There is an opportunity, but it's always a little dicey when you're relying on a number 2. Now, Cooper for the flex, I am personally bullish on Cooper. I'm getting that same feeling I had 2 weeks ago where he came out to the media. He was focused. He's like, I got to do better. He's realizing if he keeps fumbling things up, it's going to cost him. He's not going to be getting a whole bunch of offers in free agency. So I think Cooper gets the targets, get the touches, especially in full PPR. I think Cooper gets targeted a lot and gets a touchdown today. So there's certainly a way Wicks can do good, and there's certainly a way both can have good fantasy days. I'm going to say Amari Cooper myself.
Yeah, I'm going to Amari Cooper as well, especially if Joe needs to get points and needs that high-risk player. And right now I'm considering Amari Cooper high risk because we don't know if he's catching the ball today or not.
Yeah.
But if you need something maybe a little bit safer, in my opinion, right now, Wicks. But if you want to go for those points, I'm starting Cooper.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing there as well. Good stuff, Joseph. You can get your questions in the chat on Sick Pod Browns, on Twitter, on X at AndyMC81. Grant, tell people where they can find you, all the IDP plus, not just defense, but everything.
Yes. You can find me at Grant_Gillilan on Twitter. And then you can find some of our work on IDP plus YouTube page. We don't only cover individual defensive players, but we also cover offensive players and betting as well.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
Andy, I just want to say it's really weird to say Amari Cooper is not the safe play.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah. I just stopped myself and think about it. Like, is he
I
really not
know.
the safe play?
He was for so long. Plug and play, forget. Put him in the lineup, not a problem. Now we're thinking, and I'm gonna have to make some real choices. Like for me, you know what's funny is like I have to choose in one of my leagues. Do I put Amari Cooper in favor of of a Dontavian Wicks, of other players? And it's like, okay, where do I want to go with this? So you know what, actually. So right now, I didn't set the lineup yet. I had Wicks in over Cooper. I'm going to switch it. I'm going to live by what I say. There we go. We got Coop in there. Come on, Coop. Let's go. All right, buddy. Good stuff, man. Follow them along, and we'll talk to you again soon on the show. But I will see you week 7 in Cleveland, and hopefully we're coming off of a few wins and we're feeling good. But in any case, the beer and whiskey will be cold, and some bourbon too.
Yes, and keep your phone on you because I'm sure I'll be texting you today.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, buddy. Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a good one, Andy. Thanks for having me.
You too. Go Browns. There he goes. Grant Gillilan from IDP Plus. IDP guys. Great having Grant on, one of the really good fantasy minds and Browns guys as well. Getting ready for that game. Okay, let's begin with our parlay party as we wrap up the show here. Got some interesting bets for you. Okay, so what we're going to do is look at this, head to week 5. And whether it's TD, Tutty, in for 6, touchdowns matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We don't care how they score. We want to bet on touchdowns. And DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering. Ready to place that first bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score a touchdown. You can go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your picks, such as Amari Cooper, anytime touchdown, pays plus 210 right now, for example. And so you can go there, and what you can do is get ready to do your touchdown dance and place that $5 bet, and you get $200 instantly in bonus bet money when you use code 6sports. That's it. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the Sportsbook app and use code 6sports. That's code 6sports for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Perfect to do it on an NFL Sunday. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
All right, there we go. So let's get the parlay party started. All right, now if you watch at SickPodBrowns on X and Instagram, at AndyMC Sports, AndyMC81 on Twitter as well. Got a little early jump on the parlay party last night. Here's what I did so far. DraftKings Sportsbook had over/under on the Cowboys-Steelers match. I see that being low scoring. I took the under, set at -105. We paired that with Colts money line over the Jaguars. I know the Colts haven't played well in Jacksonville over the years, but they got Joe by God Flacco in the ball game. So we're going to take money line, the underdog Colts at +168. I think they win that going away. And an anytime touchdown +210, Amari Cooper. $10 on that, pays $152.20. But let's add a little bit to that. Okay. Let's add a little bit to this ticket on the DraftKings Sportsbook. So I'm looking at here. I think this Panthers-Bears game, I think there's something cooking there, man. Like the Panthers with Andy Dalton, do they win it going away at +166? I could see it. I'm not going to necessarily bet on that. I could see the Panthers covering the 3.5 though. So I'm going to pop Panthers 3.5 on the road. Going to mix that in. Patriots and Dolphins. Good Lord. That just looks absolutely rotten. Dolphins are crumbling, though. It's on the road. I think the Patriots can win that straight up +108. Let's add that to the ticket. Bills, Texans. I'm going Bills money line +104. Again, like Bills are okay. You got beat by the Ravens. You got thumped. It happens. Like, what's the problem? We got Cardinals, 49ers. Those AFC West games they're weird. I think the Cardinals keep it closer. -120 plus 7.5. I think the Cardinals cover that. I think the 49ers win. We're going to put the Cardinals in there. Raiders, Broncos. Raiders seem to be a bit up and down. You get a win, you don't. You got Madison in there. The Broncos, I think, are playing better. I'm going to say we take the better price is for the Broncos to win at 2.5, minus 115 over a straight winner. So we'll take the Broncos. Packers, we'll take the points. We'll take -3 on the road favorites. We'll take the Pack. Seahawks are going to beat the Giants. Minus 105. Do you think they win by more than a touchdown? I do. Minus 105. We're going to do that. And then Saints, Chiefs. Ooh. Did the Chiefs win by 5.5? You know what? I think they do, but I'm not liking that. I'm going to leave that one off. I'm going to leave that game off. Okay. So if we bet on all that, all right, I'm just tallying things up here. So we have this equals a 10-leg parlay, a $10 wager on our 10-legger. Hit $17,042.69. Let's go. Let's go. Parlay party. Come on. Who's with me? 10-leg parlay. We got the under on the Cowboys Steelers, Colts to win, Panthers to cover, New England to win, straight up money line, Bills to win, Arizona to cover, Denver to cover, Packers to cover, Seahawks to cover. $10 equals that. Not bad. Pretty interesting. All right. That's what I'm going to do. We'll see. If we hit on this 17,000, whoever comes sees, stops by, we'll set up camp probably at Johnny's Little Bar in downtown Cleveland. I'll buy beers for if we hit on this 17,000 10-legger. Okay. Who's in? That'll be a lot of fun. Okay. Any other fantasy football questions? All right. Or betting questions? Get them in using hashtag AskAndy. You can get me on X at AndyMC81, at SickPodBrowns, or in the chat here on YouTube. Subscribe, click notifications on, share the show. We love that. We'll be back on Tuesday. And I'll have my post-game reaction video as well on Instagram at AndyMCSports and X at AndyMC81. So get those questions in, follow along, and we'll see what the Browns can do. Let's put the good vibes out there. Browns by a field goal. Why not? Huh? On the road. Let's go grind an ugly one out. Get the dub no matter what. Just freaking get it done. Thanks so much to my guest, Grant Gillilan from IDP Plus, producer Shane. I'm Andy Mack. You've been watching the Sick Podcast. And as always, go Browns!
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.